This historic summit will have a huge impact for the Catholic Church, and here to help us delve deeper into that is Father Gerald Murray, pastor of the Church of the Holy Family in Manhattan and an expert commentator on radio and television. Father Murray, good to see you again.
Thank you, Ed. Good to be with you.
Always good to be with you. Now, the Holy Father in the beginning of the summit seemed to say that what we need is the faithful is looking for some concrete action on this. And by the end of the 4 days, there didn't seem to be many concrete things coming out of this thing.
I think you're right, Ed. People were expecting when the Pope did bring up the need for concrete action that at the end he would identify some concrete actions. Mm-hmm. He did give some general indications. He gave some points for reference. But the speech was very short on specifics and kind of large on general global analysis. And that was disappointing because the Pope and Pope alone has the power to enact laws that will affect the entire Church and establish a standard of justice. Mm-hmm. He also has the right and the power to compel bishops to fulfill their roles.
One thing that may have come out of this, though, is that there seems to have been a feeling at the Vatican or among the world's bishops that this was an American problem. Mm-hmm. And this seemed to speak more of a global problem. Do you think that came across?
It's certainly, having all the bishops from the world there makes it quite clear that this is a problem in every country and every diocese. I think they recognize, following on revelations in Chile, we've had a crisis in both Germany, France, other countries in Europe. This is not an American issue simply, to be looked at as mm-hmm. something not happening elsewhere. Right. The question is the Pope willing and ready to say, here's a universal law, zero tolerance. If you mm-hmm. commit one abuse of a minor, you're out of the priesthood. That's what people are wanting and expecting. That's what the American bishops have pledged. Mm-hmm. I hope the Pope will agree to that, because I think that's absolutely necessary.
Well, as you know, the American bishops here in the United States have been proactive on this issue, and could it be that the Vatican now is going to have to look to for an American solution, take the American solution and put that on the worldwide church?
We can hope so, in the sense not that we're just proud to be Americans, but that we're proud that we take this thing seriously, and that there's a large outrage among the clergy and the laity in general about how priests have been protected by some bishops. The Macara case remains a big open question, who knew what when. Mm-hmm. There are lots of things that the Americans, including the involvement of lay people in the evaluation of charges. You remember, Ed, that back in November at the bishops' meeting, they were all set to debate proposals dealing with bishops who have committed crimes or bishops mm-hmm. who have covered up crimes. Yeah. So now's the time for the Americans to say, well, here's our solution.
There was a claim that a lot of this stuff has been covered up. And we have a clip that I want to play for you. This is Cardinal Reinhold Marx of Germany, and I want you to react to this.
Yes.
Files that could have documented the terrible deeds and named those responsible were destroyed or not even created.
So he's saying that a lot of this information was covered up, thrown out, never received. What's your reaction when you hear something like that?
My reaction to that is, Cardinal Marx, I'm glad you identified the truth, because obviously that's happened in Germany. You've recognized it. It's also happened in other places, and here in the United States, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. Mm-hmm. In the Chilean situation, the Pope identified that files had been destroyed mm-hmm. intentionally. Mm-hmm. Now, when you identify that the people responsible for enforcing the Church's law are in fact violating it themselves by destroying evidence or not creating it, mm-hmm. we just can't sit back and say, oh, now we know that, what are we going to do? Mm-hmm. Who are those people who destroyed files? If they're still in office, they need to be removed. Right. And there has to be clear guidelines in the future.
Father Murray, always great to be with you. Great insights.
Thank you, Ed.